So to log in, what you do firstly is you put your username and password in the boxes provided. If you want to change your password to something more memorable, you can click this link here, lost your password, and follow the steps that are provided. I'll just log in, and what this does is it takes you into the dashboard area of WordPress. Now I find the best way of editing any content is to have two tabs open, one tab with the dashboard and one with the website itself. If I refresh the website page, the first thing you'll notice that's slightly different is that you've got this black bar along the top, and you can see it's got my login details here, and it's got various menu options. So if you want to make a change on any of the pages, for instance, let's pick a random cottage. Let's say, for instance, Victoria Cottage here. You want to change some of the details. So you can see here you've got your amenities, the overview, pictures, and the map. You'll see along the top the bar appears, and I can click Edit Room, and I use the right mouse button and then choose Open Link in a new tab. I've got a Mac and I'm using Firefox here. You may have slightly different menu options, but they provide the same sort of functionality. So if you click there, you'll see this new tab opens, and you'll see that you get the page which matches Victoria House Cottage, Victoria House Cottage. So one of the first things you were asking about was the map. So here we are at the edit page, and if I scroll down here, all the way to the bottom, we've got map. And you can see there isn't actually a picture of the map on here, but you've got this link, map press equals map ID, and so on. If I scroll down, you can see here that this is the map press add-in. So if you want to change or make a more precise map, what you need to do is create a new map. And we can call it whatever you want. Well, let's say, for instance, a local area to me here, and it's 625 by 600. This is the dimensions you always use here, and here you type in the location that you're looking for, and it'll actually come up with a suggestion. So if I choose that particular suggestion, so this is something that's close to me. Now if I say it's my actual office, which is very close to the airport, you can actually drag and drop on top of the exact building that you want and move that around. So if you can get a map point in the nearest town or village, you can then drag this map around and then click the exact place where you want the pointer to be. And when you're happy with that, you click Save, and that then saves this map, and you can see here it's been given the title. If I choose Edit, you can see here it says Map ID 13. So what I need to then do is change this 3 to a 13. If I then scroll up, the update button to change anything that you've done is over here on the right. So I click that, and then just wait a minute until that change is updated, and I then go to the page, scroll down to the map and refresh. You'll see that the map has now moved to the airport near me here. Okay, I've just switched to a different cottage, Nettlebed, mainly because I want to show you how the full structure of an entire page looks and which elements make it up and how you might go about editing different parts of it. And Nettlebed's a good example because it's got the virtual tour and testimonials and all the rest of it in there. So it starts at the top with the images which you can scroll through. So we've got a photo gallery that controls that. We then have the amenities, the virtual tour button, overview, testimonial, cottage details, the gallery, the booking details, the map, and some further testimonials. And you've also got these booking buttons that appear. So I go to the page itself. First thing you'll notice is at the top here, the first thing you see is actually the virtual tour. So that's where the page that you edit begins, at this point here. And from there on down, it's basically an exact mirror of what you see in the page. So if you want to change some text, it's very easy. You just type in the new text that you want to appear. And then over here on the right, you've got an update button, which you click, and that will then save that change. You have an undo here, in case you make any mistakes that you want to undo. And it works pretty much like Microsoft Word. So it's a pretty straightforward text editing process. It gets slightly more complicated with some of the elements. So if we look at this header section, you'll see there's a funny bracket here with SU quote site. And what that is this testimonial here. And all the testimonials are formatted exactly the same. They look kind of complicated to begin with, but if you actually look inside, you've got here who cited that particular quote, the Cox family from Diggle. And then afterwards, we've got the actual quote, and it's got a square bracket element at the beginning and a square bracket element at the end, and the text just appears in between. So if you were to create a new one, you could just copy and paste it, just change the text of what the testimonial says in here, and then change who said it in here, and then click the update button, and that would edit what's said in here. You can see the text itself written here, and who cites it over here. The next element, which is also slightly more complicated, is this nice tabbed area where you can actually click each of the individual tabs and you get a different set of information. On the page itself, this is actually quite straightforward. You've got, again, these square boxes with information inside, and all you need to do is, you can see here in the first main header, it describes the title. So you've got lounge, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, outside, Wi-Fi, and pets. So and discount, finally discount down here. So each of these, although it doesn't actually look like tabs on the page here, creates the tabs. And underneath you've got the bullet points with each of the elements. So if we want to change something, such as add an extra text point, we can just add it in like this, click the update button, go back to the cottage details and refresh it, and you'll see the extra bullet point text appears in the correct location without affecting any of the others. So I'll just remove that. You can just use your delete key just to delete that. And that's the same for each of these tabs all the way down. The next thing is the gallery. Now you notice here that it's done it in a very sort of fancy and ornate way, with this sort of mosaic tile style. This is done all automatically within the software. There's nothing you need to pick in order to get this to work. All you need to do is edit the gallery. All you need to do is click and you just see a blue box appears, and you can hit the edit, which is this little pencil icon, and it brings up this edit gallery. And what you can do in here is things such as drag and drop the order of the images, or remove images by hitting the little cross in the corner, and that will just take them away. In addition, you can also add extra images. Now, the easiest way to find the correct images is by typing in the name of the cottage name. So if I type in nettle, it should find any nettle bed images that haven't been added. You can see it says no items found, which means that all the nettle bed images have already been added to this gallery. If I use something more generic like cottage, you see you'll get hundreds of cottage-based images. This is where the confusion comes in when you've got Bridgeview and Bridgeview Cottage, for instance, because they're both called Bridgeview. So if I type in Bridgeview here, you see you get all the Bridgeview and the Bridgeview Cottage images appearing together. It makes it kind of difficult to know which is which unless you're familiar with the outside and inside of the cottage itself. If you want to add a cottage picture, you just select it. And once you've selected them all, because you can do a multi-select, you can choose Add to Gallery, and they'll automatically add to the very end, so you can see the 3 images have been added. In fact, if you're then happy, you'd hit the Update Gallery button, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to actually add these images, so I'll just hit the cross here to cancel it. So that's how you edit the images in the gallery section. So under the gallery, you've got the booking details. Again, you can just edit the days, so if it's Friday to Friday, for instance, followed by the map. This particular map has got some extra information relating to the pathway in there. I figured it makes more sense to have information about access and difficulty access and that type of thing next to the map itself, because they're kind of related. And I've covered how you actually update the map itself. This is map ID number 12. And then at the very bottom here, we've got more testimonials which work in the same way as the ones that I described earlier, with the text between the boxes and the person who wrote them in the site section. So that covers most things apart from the elements which I mentioned earlier, which is the gallery at the top of the page and the amenities. Now they're actually covered in this room details section. Unfortunately, you can't change that to cottage details, so you just need to remember a room is a cottage in this particular instance. And you can see you've actually got a second gallery, and it works in exactly the same way as the gallery I showed you earlier, where you can add images and the image gallery appears. You can add to the gallery in the same way by searching through your image files. One of the things that you may have is extra images on your hard disk that you wish to upload, and you can do that by clicking Upload Files, and you can hit the Select Files button here, and it will then go to your hard disk, and you can then go to the cottage and then pick an individual image and then choose Open, and that will upload that particular image. I wouldn't do it an upload in this particular instance because I've already uploaded all the images you sent to me previously, but when that is uploaded, it will then appear in the gallery for you to add. And you've also got the Edit Gallery option here, which is the same. You can remove the images and then click Update Gallery when you're finished. But in this case, I'm going to hit the cross because I don't want to save any changes. You'll also see here you've got the amenities, and this is just a list, and you can add to it just by clicking this Add Field and typing in the thing that you want to add. You can see it's already saved ones that I've previously typed in, so parking for 2 cars, hairdryer, or whatever it happens to be. And these then get added in. You can also remove them just by hitting the little cross. So you can adjust these. What I've tended to do is the top one, I've made the number of people that the cottage sleeps, and then the top 3 or 4, usually the free Wi-Fi, whether it's pet friendly, and the no smoking. And then the others I've just kind of mixed up, just usually in the order of the room, so you tend to find the lounge elements first, and the kitchen and the bedroom and so on. But you can actually change the order, so if you decide that, for instance, the 2 double bedrooms should be higher up in the list, you can actually drag that and change the order to the order that you want. The final tab is the room offers, and this is the price, and all you need to do is put in the price per week, which is what I've done for all the other cottages. And what I've done is the lowest price, because this is the starting price per week, and it'll add in the text from at the beginning. And I've done that for each of the different cottages. Once you're happy with that, you can hit the update button. Some of the other things that's worth mentioning when you're editing a cottage is over here you've got the categories, which is just basically the number of people that a particular cottage sleeps. You can pick one or more than one depending on where you want it to appear on the menu. So here we've got the menu sleeps 2 all the way to 10. So if you want a particular cottage to appear in 6, 7 and 8, then you can choose to have it appear in 6, 7 and 8. If you decide you only want to have it appearing in 8, you can remove the tick box and it will no longer appear for that number of persons. The final thing is the featured image. This is the image that appears when you look at the set of cottages here. So this is your featured image. So this is the main image that appears for each of the cottage with the price and the name over the top. So you can remove it and change that to something else if you decide that that's what you want to do. And again, it works in exactly the same way as the photo galleries. When you remove it and add it in, you can search based on the cottage name, because all the cottages images that you've sent me I've already uploaded into this system, and you can find them because I've called them after each of the cottages to make it nice and easy to locate any of the images. Always remember to click the update button at the end just to make sure that any changes you make are live on the website. That just leaves these buttons. Now the way in which you edit those is you click it, and these ones here you can just copy and paste from page to page, but obviously the virtual tour is different. Nettlebed cottages, for instance, is not going to be the same as one of the others, so what you can do is just click this edit link, and in here you can see that this particular one is a link to Nettlebed. So if it was a different cottage, all you need to do is find what the link would be and edit it in here, and then hit the supply button, and that will change it. The other thing you've also got is these Book Now buttons. They're slightly more complicated. The way in which you edit those is actually by going and clicking this text tab up here, and you'll see that it highlights the actual link. It always starts with ahref and ends with an A. And inside here you'll see there's a link to free to book. This particular code here is the thing that changes from cottage to cottage. So if I switch over to free to book and we have a look at Nettlebed, what we do is we look at the widget and we view the code. we scroll down to this number 5, and here you've got this code, ahref equals blah 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 blah, with this big long number, and this is what links the website to Free to Book. So you can copy this, go back to the room, find the same code, which is this here, and then just paste it on top, and that will edit the link. What I tend to do when I'm building a website is do that, update, and I go and test the page for that particular cottage by clicking the link and make sure that it goes to the correct cottage. So you can see here, nettle bed cottage, picture of nettle bed, so that's worked. So this link is now correct. It appears several times on the page, here, here, and here. So what we therefore need to do is go back to the text, find that again, which is this ahref lines, copy it, and then every time we find that on the page, such as here, we replace it by pasting in that version here, here, and then after the testimonials here. Once you've done that, you can go back to the visual editor, have a quick look and make sure the book buttons still look right, update it, and then test each button individually just to make sure that when you click it, it goes to the correct cottage.